Welcome to today's tutorial at taxfriendonline.com. Today we're going to go over the student loan interest deduction. Now, what is the student loan interest deduction? It is any interest paid on your student loans which may be deducted as an adjustment. Remember, an adjustment reduces your taxable income. Now, this is the website at www.taxfriendonline.com, and this is the student loan interest deduction article. Now, there's two different criteria to determine whether you qualify for the student loan interest deduction. The first one is a general criteria, which is right here, and the second one, which we'll go over in a little bit, is based on your adjusted gross income. Before we go through the criteria, I just want to point your attention here. Notice, the most that you can deduct for student loan interest is $2,500. So, let's go through the general criteria. First criteria, did you make a payment on a student loan? If yes, keep going. Did you take out the loan to pay for school expenses? Now note, school expenses can be tuition and fees, room and board, books, supplies, equipment, and other necessary expenses for school. If yes, keep going. Was the student enrolled at least half-time at the time the loan was taken out? If yes, then we can go to the second criteria based on our adjusted gross income. But before we do, I just want to point your attention here. Now, if you're married and you're filing married filing separate, then you won't qualify for the student loan interest deduction. That is why, if it's important for you to take this deduction, then it is important that you file as a married filing jointly. So now we're going to go over the second criteria, which I mentioned before is based on your adjusted gross income. And as you'll notice, there's two sections, one for people not married and one for people who are married. So let's start off with the folks who are not married. Now, if you're not married and your income is less than $75,000, then you would qualify for the student loan interest deduction. And if you made between $60,000 and $75,000, then your deduction will be reduced. Now, for the folks who are married, if your income is less than $150,000, then you would qualify for the student interest loan deduction. And if you made between $120,000 and $150,000, then your deduction will be reduced. Now, I'm sure your question is, what if I fall in between that income range? How much will my deduction be reduced by? And the answer is, you'll have to fill out the student interest loan deduction worksheet, in which I will go over in the next tutorial. But if you're on the website and you're following this tutorial, just click on the link here and it'll take you directly to the student loan interest deduction worksheet. Now, this form right here is called the 1098E. If you paid more than $600 in student loan interest, you'll get one of these from your lender. Now, I'm just going to point out a few sections here. So this section right here has the lender's information, their name and address. And this section right here has the borrower's information, so basically your name and your address. Now, the important thing to note though here is box number 1. It says student loan interest received by lender. So whatever the dollar amount in box number 1 is what you paid in student loan interest, and consequently the student loan interest that you can deduct. Now, what if you had less than $600 in student loan interest paid and you never received a 1098E? How would you determine the interest paid? What I would do is look through your statements, or if you don't have statements, contact your lender and see if they'll send you one. Now, if you look through those statements, you'll see exactly what you paid in student loan interest. So now that we determined how to get the student loan interest paid, either in box 1 of the 1098E or looking through statements, I'm going to show you how we can take that amount and claim it as a deduction on the 1040. Now, this is the Form 1040 for filing federal taxes. And now that we determined how to get the student loan interest paid, we're going to deduct that on the 1040. So, we're going to scroll down on the very first page in the adjustment section. The adjustment section is right here. Item number 33, or box number 33, which is right here. It says student loan interest deduction. So box number 33 right here. That's where you would put in the student loan interest paid. So let's say we paid $780 for 2011 in student loan interest. And that's it. That's how you would deduct student loan interest. Now please stay tuned for our next tutorial, because as I mentioned before, if you're not married and your income is between $60,000 and $75,000, your student loan deduction is reduced. And if you are married and your income is between $120,000 and $150,000, your student loan deduction is also reduced. Now, in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to fill out the student loan interest deduction form in order to figure out how much these deductions are reduced by. So please stay tuned.